Welcome to the Brass and Woodwind Shop. This is the third video in the Saxophone Repad series, and I'm hoping to get the saxophone finished this week, but a lot of times things take longer than you think and you run into problems that you don't foresee happening, so we'll see what happens. Here are all the keys, and they have the pads on them, but the pads are not glued in. And the reason why is because I put the glue on right before I put the keys on to the saxophone. That way I can level the pad over the tone hole, because what you want is you want that pad to sit squarely over that tone hole, and you do not want it off to one side or the other or the front or the back. You want it right over that tone hole. So if you put the glue on right before you put on the key, then you can level the pad, and then the glue will harden in that position and the pad will be level. Here are the hinge rods and pivot screws that I have on the screw board, and I remember where all of these go because of the order I put them on. So I'm going to start with this one, and this hinge rod has 4 keys on it. It has the D, E, and F keys, the ones that you touch when you're playing the instrument, and it also has the F sharp key, and all of these 3 keys are able to close the F sharp key. Some saxophones also have the G sharp key on this rod, but not this one. So what I'm going to do is take the rod and clean up all of the old oil and whatever else is on there, and clean that up and put some new oil on there. Not that much. You don't have to put that much oil on these. And then I'm going to clean out the keys. And I do it like that, just run it back and forth. And take the next one. And I'm going to do that with all of these. And also when I'm doing this, I am cleaning them out by agitating them a little bit. But also, if something is bent or doesn't work, you're going to put it in there and you're going to feel it stick. And these do not stick. These are fine. But if there is a problem, you're going to feel it, and then you'll have to solve it. On this key, the F sharp key, there's a tube that the hinge rod goes through, and then there's a gap, and then there's another tube. So I also have to check to make sure that these line up. And these ones do, so there's not a problem there. Sometimes you need to bend this one way or the other to make those fit or line up, but this one is okay. Then when I'm done with that, I'm going to clean up all of the oil on there. And you can see that there's a little bit of junk on there. So I'm cleaning that up, and then it is ready to go on. I'll put a little more oil on there, and then put these keys. Oops, I forgot one thing. I forgot to put the glue on. Here's the glue that I use. This is liquid shellac, and I keep it in a film canister. What it is flake shellac, and then I add denatured alcohol to it and let it sit for a day, and then I stir it up. I apply it with a screwdriver. You can use whatever you want to apply it, but I just use a screwdriver, and then I clean up the screwdriver when I'm done. There are a lot of different kinds of glue that you can use, but I found that liquid shellac works the best for me. But if there's something that you like that's different, you can use that. So now I'm going to put that in there, and try to be careful not to make a mess with the glue on it, but sometimes I do get a little bit of glue where it's not supposed to be. And then I level it with the block. So that pad is glued in and ready to go on. I have to get all 4 of these ready before I put them together. I have the glue on the pads, and I'm going to put this together now. The F sharp key goes in first, and push the hinge rod in a little bit of the way. The next one, the F key, needs to go in. I'll get it in there eventually. Just go around the needle springs, and then under the F sharp key. No, wrong way. Come on, get in there. There we go. And then I'll push it in a little farther. Then the E key. And the D key. Now I'm going to screw the hinge rod in. Now I'm going to hook up the springs with the spring hook. It has a pusher end on one end and a hook on the other, so that you can get at the springs from either direction and hook those up. These keys are not level, and they're not in adjustment, and they're not in regulation right now, but I'm going to take care of that later. Right now I'm going to try to level the pads. This is my saxophone leak light, and I use this all the time for saxophones. And you turn it on, and then you put it inside of the saxophone. You need to put it underneath the keys that you're checking. So I put the saxophone leak light in. You can see it inside of there, or if I turned it off, you could probably see it. Maybe not. Well, anyway, it's in there. So I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to push down the keys one at a time, and I'm going to see where they leak. And if it leaks, you'll be able to see light coming out of there. And right now I'm doing the F sharp key, and you can see a lot of light coming out of the front. But if I turned it around, there's no light coming out of the back of the key. So this pad seats in the back, but not the front. This is a set of saxophone pad leveling tools, and these are, I believe, made by Allied. Freeze makes a set of 7 of these. I do not usually use these, though. You're probably wondering where I got these, if I don't use them. I have a friend who used to repair instruments, and he sold me all his tools, and that's where those came from. But I usually use this. This was given to me in college. It's just a couple thin strips of metal with a little pivot in there where you can turn this around, and you just put it where you need to be to get at the part of the pad you need to get at. Then you put it underneath the high spot on the key, which in this case is the back, and push down on the front. And then you take the tool out, look at it again. There's still a gap in the front of the pad, so I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to push a little bit harder this time. Okay, now there's not as much gap in the front, but there still is some. So I'm going to do that again, and I'm going to push down like that and try to level that key into place. I know this is hard to see in the video, but the pad seats on this side, so I'm going to adjust my little tool and then push down lightly. The pads go a lot easier side to side than they do forward and backward, so I'm just going to push lightly on that and see what I have. I have to do that some more. And you just do that until the pad is where it is supposed to be. Sometimes it goes very quickly and takes just like a few seconds. Other times you have to try to seat it a lot of times. Either way, you just do what needs to be done to get the pad to be level. There are other ways of leveling saxophone pads, but this is the way that I do it. Other people do it differently. Just find a way that's good for you and do it that way. Okay, I'm getting a little closer. You can see if I push it down lightly, there's a little bit of light that comes out. If I push a little bit harder, the light goes away. But I want these pads to be level so that when you push lightly, the light goes away. It's about 1 minute later, and this pad is level now. And now I'm going to move on to the next one. Around the side, the pad does seat, and I'm going to turn it around and look at it from the back. And it looks like it seats in the back again. So this pad has to move forward. I'm going to put the pad leveling tool in there and try to move the pad forward again. Okay, it went most of the way forward. I'm going to do that again. Okay, it's getting closer. Now it's seating on the sides. So, okay, I think that is good. Let's check the back to make sure. Okay, almost. I see a little bit of light in the back. And, okay, I think that looks like it's good. Yep, that one's good. These keys are not in adjustment right now. The F key is supposed to close the F sharp key all the way, but it does not. There's still a gap there. That's okay for now. After I'm done putting on all the keys and leveling all the pads, then I'm going to deal with the adjustment of the saxophone. But right now, if these are out of adjustment, that's okay. I'm going to move on to the next pad. Looks like the same thing. It is seating in the back but not the front. So I'm going to fix that the same way. Next I'm going to put on the C-sharp lever. And the C-sharp lever is buried underneath a lot of keys, so I want that one to go on next so I don't have to take everything apart and put this one on later. So I'm going to do that now. This has 2 pivot screws, so I put some oil where the 2 pivot screws go, right there. And then I put the key where it goes. So I line that one up and then get the pivot screws. Now I'm going to screw that one in, and I have to go around the bell bow when I do this. There. That's good. Now the next screw. Now the C-sharp lever is installed, and I'm going to put in the C-sharp key next. And now some glue for the key. And put that in there and level it. You have to clean out the hinge rod and put a little oil on it and clean out the inside of the tube. Clean it up and then put some more fresh oil on there. Okay, now it's ready to go on. I'll put that in there and tighten it up. And hook up the spring. Now I have to move the leak light from here to the bell so I can see what's going on here. I put the bell keys on and I'm going to level those. Look at that. I think that one is good without me even doing anything to it. That's rare, but it does happen sometimes. Okay, that one is just a little off to the side. Now I need to come forward just a little bit. Saxophones have 25, well this one has 25 pads on it. Most have either 24 or 25. Some have up to 26. So it takes a while to do this just because of the sheer number of keys on this thing. That one is good too. I have all the bell keys done, all the right hand keys done. Now I'm going to do the bow keys. That's the low C key and the E flat key. But I'm not going to make you watch me do all of the keys, so I'm going to do some and then I'll be back with you in a while. It is quite a while later and I have all the parts on the saxophone except for the octave key parts. All the pads are leveled and all the keys are on. I'm going to finish up by getting the octave mechanism together. All that's left are the octave mechanism keys and levers. So I'm going to clean those off real quick and then I will put those on. There are several different variations in the saxophone octave mechanisms and different manufacturers do it differently. There are 2 octave keys, one on the body and one on the neck, and they have to rock back and forth depending on if the G key is opened or closed. So pretty much they do the same thing, but there is a lot of variation in the octave mechanisms. Now I have to get the rocker. Oops. This is the rocker on this one that decides which octave key is open or closed. And sometimes it's a little tricky to get that in there. There it goes. And then, let's see, I have to make sure that's all the way in. Put that in there and, oh, you know what? I just realized I did not put a cork on this. I need to go do that now. I'll pull that back apart and put a cork on here. Sometimes you forget different things. There's so many different keys that, well, anyway, I forgot that one. I'm going to put a cork on it now. I put the cork on and I'll try that again. So slide that into there and put the hinge rod in. And then this little piece, I don't even know what this is called. Then the last part of the saxophone. Actually, there is one more part I need to put on, the key guard, but I put that on afterwards, after I'm done adjusting, because that one just gets in the way if it has not been adjusted yet. I was hoping to get the saxophone done this week, but it's not done, so that will have to wait for next week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe for more band instrument repair videos. Look in the description below for a link to the playlist of the Saxophone Repad project.